Hi,
Mhm.
Daniela. How are you today? Would you like to introduce yourself briefly?
Hi, Sarah. How are you? Well, I am the executive assistant of Sarila, and well, it's a really good honor for me to be part of this amazing business and team. And yes, we're here, and we are going to have like a little a Q&A, and yes.
Yeah, so we were talking yesterday. It was so interesting. We were talking about your glows and grows and kind of some things that you had been working on the past few weeks. And the topic that came up that I thought we could explore a little more for people to listen is when it comes to reaching out to other people, whether it's using email or sending messages on social media. We were talking about there are different audiences, but what's the most effective way to catch someone's attention on, let's say, email when we're doing like an initial outreach, most likely to another business owner. And so let's just talk about that. Like, what have you learned, I guess, in the past month or so, helping me do some of our email outreach for sales purposes, but also for some like strategic partnership collaborations?
Well, for example, when you want just when it's like the first time that you want to reach to a new client or a new business, like the most important part of like structure your email is start with like a really brief introduction and then bullet points that I think that it's something that I really learned with Sarah, that you have to have like a really good structure with bullet points, and then add like a question at the end. And you have to be like a little bit direct and to the point in this email. And then, for example, for social media, when you want to reach like an influencer or a new ambassador that you want to have on your brand, it will be more important to have like more details, maybe use some emojis and something like that. And I think that this is like the most important thing that I have learned and developed as a really important skill for myself as a professional, but as a person too. And it's to how to structure and to like divide an email and to communicate in the best way to have like a response from that business.
Yeah, those are great points. Yeah, because,
Yeah.
and we talked about how if like to always keep in mind who is the person most likely receiving this email, what's their position in the company. Is it a small enough company like ours where I'm actually getting a lot of the emails myself and I'm wearing all these different hats and I have all these different roles? So for smaller companies, it probably has to be like much more direct and to the point if it's an email. But if you're reaching out to a larger company or directly on Instagram, you're probably going to be reaching their social media manager, maybe on Instagram. They're checking the messages, not the business owner. And so to your point, they're doing their job because it's fun. Like hopefully they want to feel good about the communication they're having on social media and have those like fun, happy, good vibes. So I think yeah, it's definitely a different approach. Like when I get an email from someone I don't know and they put like a heart in the subject header, I'm like, someone did that recently. And I actually I even said something to them. It was like a red heart. And I was like,
Oh
well,
my
you
God.
got my attention, but I don't like it. Like that doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
Yesterday I got a sales email from someone and the subject was, "Hey, Sarah," exclamation point. And that was it. And it was, um, I don't know even what it was about, but they did get my attention to open it. So maybe that's effective, but it didn't feel very professional. It almost felt like a trick. And if I feel like it's a trick or like a gimmick, it kind of turns me off and leaves a bad impression.
Yeah, well, I try to avoid to like put emojis or happy faces like on my emails because you want to show like your your most professional part. and the communication on email is more professional than when you send like a quick DM on Instagram. It's more like, hey, how are you, blah blah blah. But on an email you want to sound like a professional, and you want to get like the response of the other person. And also it's important to know what to ask, and if you have like a question, like know how to write the question for the other person, because in some cases we mentioned yesterday that in some cases the person doesn't reply to our message because they don't know like the answer to that question. So it's important to know how to give like a clear message,
Right.
like structure an email and give in that email a really good clear message, because you want the reply to the email, to your email. So it's important to what to say and the way that you say the things.
Mhm.
So really important, know what to ask, and with this you are helping the other person to reply the message,
Yeah.
and you are giving the message, and and yes, that's like helpful for them and for you, and they are going to reply to your message. So yes.
Yeah. I did a LinkedIn post a couple weeks ago about, in my opinion, the reasons you're probably not you, but the reason someone's not hearing back from their email. I think a lot of people assume that the other person just didn't get it, or it went to their
Mhm.
spam, or they didn't have time to read it. I think I get hundreds of emails a day, and I think most people actually do get it, and I think they probably do glance at it. They might open it, and then what I do is I'll mark it as unread if it's still important, but I just don't have time to deal with it today. And I'll hopefully come back to it when I have more time, which is usually going to be like an evening or a weekend if it's not high priority today. The last thing I want is for someone to be waiting on me to do some kind of a job. So like if it's our team, like that takes priority over everything. If it's a current partner, that takes priority. If someone's waiting on me for a resource, I'll take care of it. But if it's like a new idea or a possibility or a service that I don't really think we need right now, but maybe sometime I might file it, but I am going to reply to them one way or the other. If like the email is just really spam, or it looks like AI, or it's even like almost offensive, or it's like, why haven't you replied over and over again? I may just mark that as spam at some point, but I think to your point, most people get it and they either don't know how to answer it because the question's not clear, or it's really important to them and they don't have time and they're going to come back to it, because I don't want to respond to something really big and important if I'm just like on my phone or busy with something else. So that may not be a bad thing. And then the other reason is like, what was the other reason? Oh, maybe there's no question, right? There's no question at all.
Yes,
And
maybe you didn't ask like a question and you are like, okay, you are just giving them information. But I think that when you ask like a question at the end of the email, you are like giving them like conversation. And maybe with that, you are going to, well, they are going to answer me with that question.
Mhm.
And I saw a post that you posted on LinkedIn too, that it was about how do you feel when you get an email on a
On
Sunday?
Sunday.
But yes, I would like to know your opinion, because in my opinion, I feel that it's okay. And maybe I have more time to read it, but then I wait until Monday to send the message. For
Mhm.
example, I maybe I could leave them on a draft and then I send them on the next day, that is Monday. But I would like to know your opinion about that, because it's really interesting. I was like, okay, okay.
Yeah, the survey results are still coming in. I'm going to run it a couple more days, and a lot of people have answered. So it's interesting. What I think is interesting so far about the results is a lot of people said, it was because it was three possible answers. It was something like, it doesn't one of them was, it doesn't matter, I don't check email on Sunday. But what's funny is that people would answer that at all because they're checking LinkedIn. Like they're saying they're
Mhm.
checking LinkedIn and they're
Yeah,
on work, but they say they don't check email, which
they
for
do.
me, it's kind of the same. Like,
Yeah,
because I
it's
think of
like the same
LinkedIn as,
because
yeah,
mhm, it's more like professional, like a professional network
yeah.
for business to connect with professionals. But when you say, well, I don't going to check my email, but I'm checking LinkedIn, and I am answering like a survey, like a
Right.
questionnaire or something like that. And it's like, okay, that's nice. That's nice.
Look, I guess in moderation, I mean, if I'm sending an email to like team members that I know don't work on the weekend, or like our warehouse, they're not open and they're not going to check their email on the weekend, I don't feel bad because they're going to get it Monday. But I might say I don't expect a result until Monday in my email.
Mhm.
But the reason I don't wait to send it till Monday is I think a lot of people do get kind of inundated with things on Monday. And some people like to catch up on the weekend and get some things out of the way, maybe Sunday night or whatever. So I'm okay with it. It's really nice to have less email to respond to on the weekend because I get a lot
Mhm.
more done. So I enjoy it, but um, I think it depends on what type of position someone has. I think for my 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 guess is that a lot of business owners are going to say it's okay because most of us do work on the weekends, but we work less. So it's not a bad thing. But I think people who maybe are salaried and like go into an office and work like a 9 to 5, I'm not sure. Maybe that's changed, but I'm thinking they probably don't check email as much on the weekend, maybe not at all. So I just want to be kind to their inbox. I don't want them to like walk into work on Monday morning and have all this stuff, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I spend like I don't want to work like on weekends, but in some cases I just want to like do a little work and be on Monday like less stress because you
Yeah.
spend like a lot of time replying to emails. Maybe you need information from another person to send just one email, and you can like do a little bit on weekends. So for me, it's really fine to have like emails coming on weekends because I am going to check them. Maybe I just read them and then I put them as unread to know, well, this is important.
Mhm.
But yes, this was
Yeah.
really nice. Like,
Yeah. And then I guess for me, I have to, if I send an email on a Friday afternoon or over the weekend and I don't hear back and it's like Monday and it's something I really need to hear back on, I almost have to turn my clock off. Like Friday afternoon, I almost have to turn off like that expectation clock because by Monday afternoon, it feels like forever. I feel like a week has gone by and I'm like, why
yeah,
haven't I gotten a reply? And it's like, well, it was Friday afternoon or Saturday. They, just got back to work. So just to be gentle and patient, and that's important. And I don't think it's very respectful, like for someone to send an email in the evening or at the end of the day with something that's like, so it has like this urgency where I don't want to go to bed thinking about something that like I have to do. I think in that case, it's better to either just pick up the phone and talk through it or wait until the morning and then deal with it.
yes. Well, another thing that has come to my head is that I have learned at what time you should email to people. Like
Mhm.
first thing in the morning, it's the perfect time.
Is
For
it?
example, from to 12 or something like that. I think that people really reply to your emails because then after 2 p.m. they go home or they don't reply until the next day. But if you want to get like a reply the same day in the morning, like at 8, at 9, something like that,
That's true.
because you know that people are checking their emails at that time because you are doing the same, so
Yeah,
they
that's
will
true.
be doing the same.
You're so
Yeah.
right. You're so right because you know what, by 2 o'clock, it's not that people, well, in my world, like people aren't going home. It's imagine there's it's like a snowball. It's just like it starts accumulating all day, like the things in the morning, I'm like so caught up and I'm like, it's quiet and I feel like, oh, I have the whole day ahead of me. And then the meetings start, and then projects come up, issues come up. And yeah, by mid-afternoon, the email is just piling up. and then it might be like, okay, there's too much to even deal with. I got to focus on these projects. And then maybe by like, I think a lot of business owners are like checking back in the evening. Again, it depends if they have like family, children, dinner. And then there's another little round of email check-ins in the evening, maybe 7, 8 o'clock. And then, yeah, I try not to send emails after 7 o'clock at night.
Yes, because I think that it's too late. And
Late.
for example, you are like 2 hours ahead from me. So I know, well, for me, it's right now it's 2, for you, it's 4. So I have to think like, well, Sarah is 2 hours more than me. So Daniela, don't email right now. Wait until tomorrow.
Yeah. 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 And I guess we also just have to know everyone has their own boundaries with themselves. And so we have to take care of our own space and our own devices. And, I turn my stuff off at night. It's not in my bedroom. So if someone wants to email me at 8 or 9, that's fine. I'll wake up to it and I'll reply in the morning. But so what else? What other, I guess, before we end, you have been, I would say, very successful getting responses by email, but especially on Instagram. We're doing a lot of work with some new brand ambassadors and influencers and people we just kind of randomly bump into on social media, but you're also strategically looking for people in like health, fitness, wellness. They like to talk about kind of high performance lifestyle, like feeling good, looking good, being their best self. And we had a partnership with Equinox Fitness where we connected with some of the trainers and members. Do you have like one example of someone you found on social media and you started a dialogue and now they're talking about our brand? We're not paying them. They're just excited. I mean, you have a lot of people, but maybe one person that stands out. And how did you start that? Like, what was the kind of communication that got that going?
Well, the person that it's in my mind right now, it's one of the Equinox trainers that I was, the name is Brent. It's Brent. I don't know, I just start looking for different trainers and I send like a template message that, hey, the name and blah, blah, we are Sevilla, and give them like some information. And one thing that Sarah taught me that it was really important is to to say something nice to them before you ask for something. So I realized that he really like did his homework with our brand because he said and shared on his social media like a really nice message and video talking about Sarila and tasting like for first time our hibiscus green tea that it's like his favorite one, and make like conversation with him, like ask him, well, for example, what is your favorite flavor from Sarila? Also, he shared some good stories, like highlighting like the ingredients and all this stuff. And I always try to reply to their stories and to make like conversation with, because in the end of the day, we are humans and we want to make like a connection, and that's really important. And I feel that he's really showing like how Sarila could be like inside of the fitness world. And also these are the kind of people that really care about why they are drinking and what they are eating. So yes, he's a really good example of like a person in the fitness world and how I could connect with him through social media. And it's important to give like your personal touch, because I am from a different place and he's in the US, I'm here in Costa Rica, and you have to like make this human connection and to feel that he as a fitness professional is engaging with the brand, and he feel like, well, the values, the mission, the ingredients and everything, it's like the same as his values. So it's really important to give like your personal touch. And I really enjoy when when the ambassadors of a person that we want to represent Sabrila and give them like a sample pack or something like that. I really want to engage with them and feel that we are having like a connection with myself and with the brand. So for me, it's really important to like to engage and to feel that we are humans and we are connecting through Sabrila.
Yeah, I love that. Congratulations on that partnership.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, if there's anyone out there listening who wants to work with us or be an ambassador, we would love to send you samples and get the ball rolling. And if you send us a message on Instagram or TikTok at Drink Cirilla, it's most likely going to be Daniela who's on the other side. And
Yes,
I'm on the other side as
going
well.
to be me.
But now folks have a face to the message, which is very cool.
Yes, I am the face of the message. So if you send a message or a comment in any of our posts, I am going to be the person that is going to reply to you. So yes, and if you want to be like part of this ambassador team that we have on Sabrila, we are so glad to invite you to taste our amazing flavors and to see that our values are going to match with your values, and you are going to love the this amazing sparkling tea. Yeah.
Thank you, Daniela. I'm so glad we met and really appreciate everything you're doing and just being like very open to change and learning and developing new communication strategies. And I'm learning from you as well. So there's definitely a huge spectrum of communication styles, and there's not
Mhm.
one right way for everyone. We all have different, like even communication cultures. It doesn't even have to be
Yeah.
a different country or nationality. It's just even the family we grew up in or our personality. We talk differently. We have different expectations, and so it's a lot to navigate. I think, like even just walking into a room, not knowing like how other people are going to want to be communicating with, but it's definitely easier in person. So just navigating how to do it in a cold email, I guess how to warm up a cold email or a warm message. You're really good at that. So thank you again.
Oh, thank you to you. I'm really happy to be part of Sabrila, and I really enjoy all this journey because I feel that I am growing as a professional, but as a person too, because I really feel like a part and a value member for you and for Sarila, and I really love working with you. Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.